Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Business Today. I am Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Buyinza Nakauchi on sign language. And then let's get right onto it. All right, it is 17th of August 2022, and we start with the August House as MPs on the Parliamentary Committee of the National Economy have put the Finance Minister, Matia Kasaija, on the spot over the government's poor absorption of borrowed funds. Kasaija carried part of the blame but attributed the biggest poor implementation to ministries, departments and agencies. More of the details.
According to a report on the public debt, grants and other financial liabilities for financial year 2021-22, the total disbursement of loans as of 31st December 2021 was $1,187 million, with the public sector transformation disbursing 36%, followed by integrated transport infrastructure at 33%. However, members of Parliament on the Committee of the National Economy have put the Finance Minister on the spot over some non-performing borrowed funds. The Minister for Finance, Matia Kasaija, accepted some of the allegations, but also blamed the ministries, agencies and departments.
Just reporting that this kick starting off for a full year, that may mean that we get this money when we are not ready. And this is borrowed money, for heaven's sake. Why should we borrow when we are not ready? And more so disappointingly, when we talk of the internal domestic few challenges, we've been looking for the money. We now have it, but we cannot utilize it. Then it means that somewhere, somehow, there is a problem. Maybe you need to assign someone to have a staff to sit there and monitor and make sure that these offices are coordinated.
Now to be blamed. Is it the blame of the Minister, of the Minister of Agriculture, or is it the Minister of Finance?
Finance.
So, me, I would, if I know time is not with us, but if you want to do a good, thorough job, and really I want you, Parliament, to help me. When I borrow this money under pressure, and the sector is not performing, is not absorbing, is not asking for the money. Very demoralizing. So, me, subject to your ruling, it will be better that the sectors who are responsible are here and we are here.
Okay.
The stock of the total public debt increased from $15.3 billion at the end of the June 2020 to $19.5 billion as at the end of June 2021, representing an increase of 27.4%. Much as government is taking efforts to ensure that debts remain sustainable, it shouldn't be forgotten that a higher debt stock comes with greater risks of debt distress and its macroeconomic consequences.
You borrow money, Chair, 2019, 2020, 2021, a sector comes to an end when they have utilized the 10%, 20%. Are we moving? What are we? Are we a Committee of National Economy? Is this an economy or is somebody's home?
This has been the challenge for this country. When the president stands to make an address, he will say, my people disappointed me. But now we are in a blame game. Finance will blame agriculture, agriculture will blame finance, Parliament will blame agriculture. It is not giving us results. And we have been in this circus for so many years. Maybe it is time to review our procedures and do the right thing. Prime Minister, my people down there need these services that we are sitting on because of technicalities. An average person doesn't want to know who is wrong and who is right. They need implementation. And you are the Minister for Planning.
The Minister of Finance rejected the MP's appeal of desisting from borrowing before government accounts for borrowed funds.
They are right in a sense, but not completely right, because we should look at each case separately. We look at its merits and demerits. To say we cannot borrow is not. I don't want to borrow, sure, but with the needs in the economy and the situation especially we are now in, you cannot avoid total borrowing. I mean, you cannot totally avoid borrowing.
But when we are scrutinizing the performance of loans, we don't only look at how much you released. We also look at how much was released, how much was absorbed, and what is the physical performance. What we have discovered is that actually the Minister of Finance stops at approval of loans and releasing money. They don't know actually what is happening on the ground. They don't know the physical performance, they don't know the disbursement rate, which means that actually there can be a misuse of resources.
During the financial year 2021 to 22, 33% of the loan disbursement came from Afroxim Bank, 23% came from the International Association, 16% came from China, and 6% from African Development Bank, accounting for 9% of the loan disbursement. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now we go into a state of emergency at the Isimba shutdown. As last week on Monday, August 8th, a decision was made to shut down the Isimba hydropower dam in Kayunga district as a precautionary measure due to operational challenges that led to the flow of water in the powerhouse. This, however, left a 183 megawatts deficit on the national grid, which caused disruptions in the power supply. Energy Minister Ruth Nankabira revealed yesterday that the arrangement had been finalized to import 60 megawatts of power from neighboring Kenya to address the shortage. However, today parliamentarians have questioned the initiative of buying 60 megawatts of power from Kenya, yet the country is supposed to have surplus electricity. Rona Nahabwe reports.
The government announced that they will make an emergency purchase of power from neighboring Kenya to stabilize supply after floods hit its 183 megawatts Isimba power plant last week, forcing a shutdown. The country will purchase 60 megawatts from Kenya and plans to restart an idled 50 megawatts thermal plant in the capital, Kampala. The Energy Minister Ruth Nankabira Sentamu said in a statement that an additional 20 megawatts will come from Kachira Sugar Plant, which produces power from the cane pulp. In an interview with a spokesperson of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development on Uganda using the surplus electricity the Electricity Regulatory Authority has always boasted of, this was the response.
Is there because at peak we can only use 800 megawatts of power out of about 1,346 megawatts that we have as a country, but there are also elements of energy loss within our power distribution networks. So within that, if you factor in elements of energy loss, we are still working towards making the system perfect. So those elements are considered. Sometimes we also find our power, not fully, not getting to where it is supposed to get effectively until we fully ensure that there is no energy loss in the distribution network.
However, this afternoon, Parliament has questioned the cause of buying fuel from Kenya. The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development has been summoned to the House to explain in detail.
In regard to the flooding at Isimba hydropower station and the panic it has caused, I have seen Umeme has released a road shading schedule. But we are told that we have an installed capacity of 1,378.1 megawatts, and we consume much less of that. So now Isimba is a dam of only 180 megawatts, and we don't even consume 1,000 megawatts as a country. But I've seen already we are rushing to Kenya to be importing 60 megawatts. I have seen road shading schedule already released quickly. Now, the issue is not about the flooding and all that, but the panicking. The panicking, it has really scared very many. Most of you have today received around 9 members over the same issue. So because of how serious this issue is, the minister is required to appear tomorrow and make a substantive statement before this House, which we shall debate for some time so that your views are heard and we can give a contribution on how best this challenge can be overcome. But also our colleagues in our oversight programs. I remember there were very many issues on the quality of work at Isimba and Karuma, the quality of work. Because I don't know how it could be designed without anticipating flooding of that nature, you know.
The country should expect more load shedding, which the spokesperson says is partly caused by power vandalization. Still, the parliament has asked the ministry to prioritize sensitive sectors in the country.
Before Isimba shut down, we had some load shedding owing to challenges of power vandalism, because the minister came out not so long ago and said there are power vandals in the country that are stealing, cutting down transmission lines and distribution lines and vandalizing transformers in different parts of the country. They steal wires, they steal transformer oil and other related facilities. So every time they tamper with the transmission and distribution networks, they affect power supply. And whenever we have that, that usually causes some bit of disruption of the power supply.
The power cut down came in. The first place that I was surprised that could be shut down was Mulago National Referral Hospital. I request that as the minister, and the Minister of Health is here, I've even been sharing with her, if the minister is coming, then that matter, whatever situation happens in the power sector, let our hospitals not be affected. There are people in ICU. If you load shed Mulago Hospital, you load shed the national and then the regional referral hospitals, what happens to the patients? The worst case scenarios should never be on our hospitals, where there are patients, where there are Ugandans struggling with life, heart problems, and then you just load sheds.
This indeed paints a dark picture for the future of businesses, especially those that survive on electricity like factories and industries. Isimba Dam was commissioned in 2019, costing $567.7 million, that's 2.1 trillion shillings, with China's Exim Bank contributing the largest part of the funds, that's 85%, whereas the Ugandan government contributed 15%. The dam adds 183 megawatts to the national grid, whereas the Bujagari Concrete Gravity Dam adds 250 megawatts, as Karuma Dam adds 600 megawatts. Ronana Habwe, Business Today, Smart 24 TV.
All right, now moving on, we look at boosting trade between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In a bid to boost trade between Uganda and the DRC, Ugandan President, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, and his counterparts from the DRC, Felix Tshisekedi, have launched the construction of key roads aimed at improving trade between the two neighboring countries. On June 16, 2021, leaders of the respective countries made a groundbreaking ceremony at the Mpondwe Kasindi, and in March this year, construction officially kicked off. At least 243.7 billion shillings, approximately $65.9 million will be spent on this entire project. Let's have more of this report.
Much Uganda is busy building roads in Congo. Most Ugandan roads are still lacking. In 2029, Uganda's cabinet approved the construction and upgrading of 223-kilometer roads in eastern DRC to boost trade and reduce on insecurity.
It is important to have both roads built, the ones in Uganda, and also see how you can support what Uganda can benefit from, especially in the market. And Congo happens to be one of the areas where we could benefit a lot from the market. So I would support Uganda in as far as working under the EAC arrangement to support the building of roads in Congo.
We need good road networks within the East African countries. Because if we are talking about East African countries trading with each other, then transportation must be available. So we need good rail networks, and we need good road networks for transportation of goods and services and labor from one country to another. For example, we are having so many Ugandans who are traveling by road from Uganda to Congo, but it takes you 3 days because the road network is poor.
Democratic Republic of Congo is the newest country to join the East African Community on July 11, 2022. It is one of the countries that Uganda has been trading with for a very long time. Some of the merchandise that Uganda takes to DR Congo include construction materials like lime and cement, iron and steel, cereals, fruits and vegetables. On the other hand, Uganda's imports from Congo include essential oils, cosmetics, and some steel and iron.
The balance of payment is positive. We actually have, if I look at 2020, for example, we have over $256 million positive balance of payment with the DRC. That means, what that means is we import very little from them, but we export a lot from them. So the trade is in favor of us. However, we are striving to see how we do a win-win situation. So when the infrastructure is put in place, obviously their exports, Uganda will increase. Likewise, our exports will also increase.
Uganda's exports to Democratic Republic of Congo are valued at $177 million and imports are valued at $2.5 million. Monica Nabyonga, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now moving on, we talk transport. Railway transport. As the construction of the standard gauge railway main office has kicked off, the government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Transport and Works, has embarked on constructing the main office for the standard gauge railway at Namamve. Now, Chinese Exim Bank has committed to financing section of Kampala-Malaba, that is 1,724 kilometers in Uganda, amounting to 45 trillion Ugandan shillings. Samuel Kirimunda with the details.
Engineer Perez Wamburu, the SGR project coordinator, said that the prospects of closing a financial deal with China Exim Bank in the coming months are high. While speaking with Smart 24 TV, he revealed that one of the major issues causing a delay in the construction of the Malaba-Kampala channel is the Naivasha-Kisumu standard gauge railway, where the bank is financing the project.
Send a reminder to say we are getting ready to start the project. What is the level of your preparation? We are waiting for an answer. So the pursuit of the government of Uganda to establish, to develop the standard gauge railway is still on. It is total. We don't have an option in terms of development of the railway. Our neighbors, the Kenya and Tanzania, have moved quite a mileage into the establishment and development of the standard gauge railway, and therefore we cannot be left as an island, because when in the next few years, the volumes of cargo are estimated to move very high. Like, for example, as we talk, Mombasa Port alone is handling 36 million tons, and they expect that by the end of the year this will have moved to 40 million tons. And when you project it 5-10 years to come, Uganda has no alternative but to develop the standard gauge railway to be able to evacuate the cargo that will be moving from Mombasa into this country, for this country and for the other countries which are neighboring, like South Sudan, the DRC, Rwanda, and so on. So I want to emphasize that Uganda does not have any better option but to develop our portion of the standard gauge railway project.
Furthermore, he also said that they have embarked on constructing the main office in Namamve to ease the transportation of cargo into East Africa.
For this section of the standard gauge railway project, Malaba-Kampala, as far as we are concerned who are implementing the project and the government of Uganda, is going to be, the financing will come from the government of Uganda and the Chinese Exim Bank. So far, that has not changed. That has not changed. The government, they can have a conversation with the taxi company or government, but still there are other phases of the project, standard gauge rail project in Uganda. We have got 1,724 kilometers to do in Uganda alone. So, but this first phase, as far as we are concerned, I want to assure you that the thinking of the government has not changed. The partner, the preferred partner is China Exim Bank until the China Exim Bank comes out and said, no, we have now lost steam and we are not going to finance. But as far as we are concerned, that commitment is still there.
His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni reveals that Uganda cannot construct standard gauge railway without the support of Kenya. The current $5 billion investment levels for East Africa Community will boost the project with the help of the 5 trillion shillings from China Exim Bank.
Uganda cannot build a railway to the sea without the support of Kenya. Where do we pass? Economies have been growing at high rates of growth, 6%, 7%, 8%. But they have been growing without a railway system, without enough electricity, without even a good road network.
Samuel Kilimunda, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now away from that, we look at reorganizing the motorcycle sector, the boda industry. Of course, now in a bid to streamline the boda industry, only registered and trained boda riders will be allowed to operate in Kampala. Hajat Minsa Kabanda, the Minister for Kampala, has outlined the objectives to ensure smooth operations within the boda industry. This follows the launch of the boda census initiated by David Luyimbazi, the Deputy Executive Director of Kampala City Council Authority.
In February, the State Minister for Kampala Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs, Kabuye Chofa Togabye, directed all boda riders operating within the city centre to register with the government by March 1st. This was to reduce the number of riders operating within the city, which is over 35,000. However, the registration exercise did not meet the deadline. Earlier this week, the KCCA commenced the boda census, which has not been executed as the proposed time. The Minister for Kampala has outlined the objectives of the boda census.
This exercise is intended to achieve the following: the fulfillment of National Security Council recommendation of 2019 of ensuring the streamlining of boda usage in the country. This requires the documentation of all riders and their motorcycles. Number 2, training of riders for proper use on the road. All riders to have reflector jackets with barcodes for easy identification. All riders to have permits, those are driving permits. All local government to designate and gazette identifiable stages for their operation. Because we're talking about Kampala District and Kampala Metropolitan. We need to separate registration and training of motorcycles, because we've been mixing them up.
The KCCA has also outlined the hindrances that have resulted in the untimely execution of the exercise.
There's been very little activity regarding the census since Monday. It is correct. There's been little or no activity since Monday. We're just beginning to pick up this morning. There have been challenges regarding the location of the census points. Some of the locations didn't have power. Some of them didn't have internet. And we had to also install our IT infrastructure in these locations. And we also had to train data entrants. These processes took a little bit of time. But as we speak now, 50% of the census points that have been communicated to the public are operational.
On July 26th, Prime Minister Robin Anabanja initiated training for motorcyclists to formalize their occupation, an aspect rendered by the stakeholders before commencing the census.
With this ADAS training, The 35,000 plus that have been registered are part of those that have been registered but not yet trained. Now we have those who have registered and gone on to train. Those are the 10,000 that we have here. So not everyone who has been registered has gone on to train.
Once the census is complete, the government shall announce the gazetted stages from which riders will be assigned an operating stage with the Traffic and Road Safety Regulation for Motorcycles 2016. Desire Nambiru, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
The report takes us to a break. We return with more, and the coffee cut comes ahead after the break. Stick around with Business Today. Good evening.